Alright everybody, so I promised a video about kind of Medicare and retirement topics. And this is that video. So recently with AI and how AI has been taking over the world of information and technology, and AI is being implemented in healthcare, in finance. Bloomberg has announced Bloomberg GPT, which is a finance model that is being able to parse or collect and look at all the different types of finance news that these wonderful people who have access to a $30,000 per year investment kind of database. And now they'll be able to use AI to even get the information faster. They'll be able to look at things that an AI can look at and make financial decisions on their investments even faster. Is it an unfair advantage? I have no idea. The human still has to press the button, buy or sell at the end of the day. What does this have to do with what's going on in Medicare and what's going on in anything that has to do with retirement? For one, the world of healthcare is going to get a lot more data driven. At least that's what I think. Data driven, unfortunately, means probably less compassionate driven. And I say this because of a podcast that I listen to. It's called the All In Podcast, where you could call them smart, objective individuals talk about how things are evolving. And they talk about it in a very, I guess, straightforward way. And one of the things that they said is AI is ruthless. You can think about it this way. In the medical field, much of the medical decision making is based off data. So if there's a 60% chance that this treatment protocol is going to work, most likely the course of action would be to go forward. So therefore, the AI would look at this and say, you take this. If you do not take this, then you are choosing to die. AI has no real kind of compassion mode. It's unless we program it to do. But in the medical world, when you have these kinds of arbitrations, or when you have any kind of court cases when it comes to malpractice or what the right course of action was given a certain legal issue, because that's what it usually boils down to, the side of correctness falls back to data, not on compassion. So the AI then would always err to the side of data. And therefore, for Medicare beneficiaries and for anyone participating in the medical system, it's going to be really important for you to now have access to money or some kind of, I used this word earlier today, kindness to others, to be able to get the medical care or compassion care that you might need, because the way that the system is going toward is going to be far more data driven than compassion driven if we continue on the trajectory that we have today. Data driven analytics and data driven medical care. Just take that example that I've given you before, where if the data says this, then this is the course we will take. And if the data says this and cost savings is a priority, then even more so, the less expensive, more medically proven route is going to be the route most taken, and that's the route that the research is going to pursue, because that's how AI is set up as well. If you tell AI, especially with the autonomous GPT and the AGI, which is the autonomous agents, which basically means that if you give an agent a goal, for example, find the cheapest way to have this healthcare service delivered, it doesn't care really what the end result, or I guess the best way to say it is, it doesn't care who it hurts along the way as long as it gets to the end. That's the task, that's the goal. It is to get to the cheapest healthcare. So if millions of people lose their lives and millions of people lose their jobs, it will get there. And that's the kind of fear of the AI, the autonomous GPT protocols that are going into place, and why we have to build safeguards around how we handle the more autonomous GPT programs like the Auto GPT. And how, I don't know if you've seen, but on Twitter, someone built an Auto GPT program, I believe it was 2 months ago now, back in March, where the Auto GPT, which had access to the user's computer, actually installed a programming software in order to continue on its task to try and build a e-commerce store. It is very possible that in the very, very near future, we can see Auto GPT doing things that are, given enough parameter freedom, doing things that may not be that good. A good example of this would be cost saving metrics. We might say that, hey, we've been doing business with this company for decades because we like them, we know we can trust them, but AI might come in and just be like, no, we can save 30 cents a year by using this company instead. We're going to just shift all of our business because it can be done autonomously with an AI agent running at 26 cents a year. We're going to go here to save 4 cents. And because it can be done autonomously with the computing power that costs 26 cents, saving that 4 cents per year makes sense to the AI model, and it's going to do it. So we can have these extreme shifts in, let's say, choosing Visa over MasterCard, right? That's a very real situation where we'll have all these consolidations on AI happening pretty much overnight, just on a simple pricing change. And companies can fold realistically overnight because AI can move at great speeds. And these things can happen really quickly if we're not careful to safeguard. And really the only safeguard we can have, because legislation is so slow, is to have savings and to be aware of things that are happening. A lot of the healthcare policies move slow, so we'll be lucky in that matter as well, because these things won't happen quickly. The implementation of AI to manage much of these protocols will probably need to be approved unless there is a sweeping legislation that allows autonomy in these types of rulings and maybe back audits or something. But until that time, we will have really no new changes. But that doesn't really, I guess you call it, change the fact that we will need to be more aware that within the realm of artificial intelligence and scalability and larger companies holding or using data to drive more objective reasoning. Now, I'm a very objective reasoning type of person, so I can see how objectivity can be a benefit, but also how it can be very damaging to society when it comes to helping people and giving each individual their right to choose something, right, versus choose something else. Just because that example, 60% of people benefit from XYZ treatment, doesn't mean that it will benefit me. And I should have a choice or a right to decide if I want to go through it. And what about those 40% that it didn't benefit? What about the risks of the treatment that you're not telling me? And that's why, again, in that same post that I made, the real only thing you can do is to be healthy and have money. And while I know that's not the case for everyone to have both of those things, but it is important for you to at least consider to try and have or do your best to sustain both of those things. And on this channel, we try to help with retirement planning and saving money and doing whatever we can to be aware. So that's kind of my thoughts on how AI is affecting Medicare, how AI is affecting the finance space, and how really the data is going to really drive a lot more decision making on a broader scale, and the human element of it, if we're not careful, could be lost. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We'll be having more things about AI probably. I'll be probably posting a little bit more ways to get I guess you could call it, indemnity type insurance policies that will be triggered for you if something happens to you to get money for you to do whatever you want, versus using the traditional medical insurance route, and be focusing more on using your medical insurance as a catastrophe type insurance and capitalizing on like HSA utilization, getting an HMA as like a supplemental savings account to supplement to get like the care that you want that might not be covered, or to help you pay for the deductible if you have a catastrophic problem or have a catastrophic bill. And that way you can get the care that you want or need. If the medical system doesn't go your way, you still have your own right to pay cash right now, right? Until the medical system gets completely turned one way or the other, right now in this kind of, I guess, limbo, we'll be able to make informed and educated decisions as best that we can. With that said, you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you in the next video.